and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Radio Show. Dominic, it's Thursday. There's breaking news out of the great state of Wisconsin.
Hey, happy Thursday, Crudy. Let's not waste any time. Let's get to it. This is important stuff.
I was already on to the headlines. Enough with the small talk.
Let's get to it.
Here's the breaking news. Judge orders Governor Scott Walker to hold special elections.
What? I didn't think you wanted to do that.
Dom, this is a result of the Eric Holder lawsuit. A recent fine guest here on Brady, I'm going to read. Patrick Marley reports Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel dealing a setback to Governor Scott Walker and other Republicans. A judge ruled Thursday that the governor must, I tell you, call special elections to fill 2 vacant seats in the legislature. Now, what is going to be the initial knee-jerk reaction of all Republicans? Of course,
a Madison liberal judge, man.
A damn Dane County activist.
Judge. Yes, legislating from the bench.
You know who said that specifically, Dom?
Who?
Robin Voss.
Speaker Voss.
Speaker Voss is being quoted here in the article as specifically characterizing this as a Dane County activist judge. What apparently Robin Voss unaware of, Tom, this judge is actually a Scott Walker appointment.
Dane County Circuit Judge Josanne Reynolds, as Crudy mentioned, Walker appointed to the bench in 2014, determined Walker had a duty under state law to hold special elections so voters could have representation in the legislature. Crudy, what a novel idea. She said failing to hold special elections infringed on the voting rights of people who lived in the 2 districts. Here's a quote from Reynolds. To state the obvious, if the plaintiffs have a right to vote for their representatives, they must have an election to do so. Under her ruling, Walker must call 2 special elections by next week to fill the seats that belonged to former Senator Frank Lissay of De Pere and former State Rep Keith Ripp of Lodi. The 2 Republicans stepped down in December to join Walker's administration. Reynolds did not say when the elections would be held, though they could be as soon as this spring or early summer. The winners would stand for election again in November.
Now, an attorney for Walker raised the prospect of trying to block the ruling, but said no final decision on whether to do that has been made. I would like to block the judge's ruling that I must follow the Constitution.
I would like to block the judge's ruling that citizens in a representative republic actually have representatives in the republic.
Spokespeople for Walker and GOP Attorney General Brad Schimmel, excuse me,
You okay?
A little verklempt,
Okay.
said they had not yet decided whether Walker would order the special elections or pursue an appeal. I'm betting on appeal, Dom. Do the right thing when they could fight this with the taxpayers' money. And, of course, stick it to, constituents in 2 different vacant districts.
Whatever it takes.
It's a win-win.
Whatever it takes not to show how vulnerable the Republicans are this year.
The ruling is a victory for Democrats who hope a national mood favoring their party can help them capture a pair of seats that have been held by Republicans, just as they did in January in a special election in northwestern Wisconsin. The Assembly on Thursday is holding what leaders contend will likely be their last session day of 2018.
Go to work if you can get it.
But Judge Reynolds noted lawmakers could come in for a special session in the coming months, particularly if the U.S. Supreme Court sides with the panel of 3 federal judges that new congressional and legislative maps must be drawn. Do you think Scott Walker was also doing the math on that?
You know he was.
The case hinged on a state law that says Walker must promptly call a special election to fill any legislative seat that becomes vacant before the second Tuesday in May in a year in which a regular election is held. Walker's aides contended Walker didn't need to hold special elections because the vacancies occurred not in 2018, Dom, the election year, but in 2017. But the judge called that interpretation absurd because a seat that becomes vacant in 2017 remains empty longer than one that begins in 2018.
So I got wonder then, using the Walker aides logic, if those seats became available in early 2017, could he wait 2 years?
If he had to, if that's what it took.
If that's what it took.
To block Democrats from winning any elective seats, Tom. The judge took a shot at Walker for contending he didn't have to hold the election when the statutes are clear, and he so often talks about the need for judges and others to follow the plain meanings of law. The two views are inconsistent, incompatible, and irreconcilable, she said, of Walker's reading of the law on special elections and his support for strictly reading laws. Democrats cheered the ruling. Here's a quote. Senator Jennifer Schilling, also a recent guest here. Governor Walker is clearly intimidated by the thought of losing more power when voters get to the polls. His refusal to call special elections means thousands of Wisconsin families will be denied representation for the year, Dom.
Democrats believe they have a good shot at winning the seats because of Democratic enthusiasm that has swept the country in special elections, most recently in a congressional district in Pennsylvania. Rip's former seat, AD 42, is just north of Madison and includes most of Columbia County.
Dom, you know where you can hear us in AD 42? 1580 AM WTTN.
Columbia County.
We covered that district quite nicely.
Also, parts of Dane, Dodge, Fond du Lac, Green Lake, and Marquette counties is the Assembly District 42. LaSay's former seat, Senate District 1, includes portions of Door, Kewaunee, Manitowoc, Brown, and Calumet counties. Desiree Frank, who lives in Rip's district and was among those bringing the lawsuit, said she welcomed Thursday's ruling. I feel like this is a good day for the voters of Wisconsin, said Frank of Brandon in Fond du Lac County. Earlier in the day, she and Jennifer Meyer testified they were frustrated by Walker declining to call a special election. We have nobody representing the interests of our Senate district right now, and that upsets me, testified Meyer, who lives in the town of Scott in LaSay's old district.
Well, you can suck lemons.
We are
I'm just
entitled
speaking the words
to
of Scott Walker.
representation. Leading the lawsuit, Crudy National Redistricting Foundation, an affiliate of Holder's National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Holder's group is focused on electing Democrats and blocking legislative and congressional maps that favor Republicans. The group invested in January special election in a spot long held by Republican Senator, that gave Democratic Party Patty Shatner of Somerset a seat that had been long held by Republicans. Most recently, Sheila Harsdorf of River Falls. She stepped down in November to become Walker's egg secretary.
Yet they had a special election, Dom.
Weird. Why would they do that?
Crazy.
Oh, that's right. They had a special election, which they lost, so now no more special elections, except, according to the judge, his views are inconsistent, incompatible, and irreconcilable. Continuing on.
I've got the tweet.
Let's hear it.
Here, this I'm gonna savor this one just a little bit, Dom.
Right, take a breath.
You know how I do. March 4th, Scott Walker, despite liberal rhetoric, Wisconsin law does not allow me to call a special election now until after 4/3 of 2018. The state legislature is done by then, and nomination papers for fall elections are out on 4/15/2018. Example of liberal misinformation campaign, except your appointed judge has bitch slapped you, I'd say, Dom, for failing to follow the Constitution. It is spelled out very clearly there, the illogical defenses he has made to date.
Well, of course.
Indefensible. And of course, so will be his appeal of this ruling.
You know he's going to. Do you think? I mean,
He's going to appeal.
Come on.
He will appeal. They appealed even the judge's ruling, talking about the gerrymandering, as this judge did. Yeah, there could be a lot of special sessions this summer if the U.S. Supreme Court rules that the most unconstitutionally gerrymandered, partisan gerrymander by Walker and his Republican allies in the nation, most gerrymandered in the nation, must be redrawn. And it would be thrown back in the lap of the legislature. They'd have to come to some sort of agreement, or perhaps the judges would overrule, because I suspect even whatever they tell them to do over, and let's not forget, Schimmel and company, they've refused to redraw the maps. They took it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court says redraw the maps. They will put forth more partisan maps. I predict them. The judges will have to redraw the maps or order some sort of nonpartisan panel to redraw the maps. It will all happen very rapidly. And Scott Walker will be claiming, we can't have elections because I might lose. My ideology might lose.
He would love to go forward with a process as important as perhaps redistricting the state under a judge's rules here at the Supreme Court, Crudy, and be totally fine with citizens of the state not having any representation, not having any say, any influence on those decisions.
And of course, Dom, his defense, well, those guys resigned on December 29th. That's not in the calendar year, so I can leave them vacant for a year. I mean, that does stretch the definition of a reasonable statement.
It's absolutely asinine, and it is inconsistent, incompatible, and irreconcilable, his views.
His views are just the man himself.
Well, couldn't it be the same? Couldn't it be both?
Absolutely. Folks, we are the devil's advocates.
So how long do you think before the appeal that comes through?
Early part of next week. Early part of next week. Scott Walker, through his Attorney General, Brad Schimmel, will appeal this ruling. And he'll do it with our tax dollars, and it will be expensive. And all he's trying to do, Dom, he's just trying to drag it out, just trying to run out the clock. Little four corners defense.
Delay the inevitable.
Absolutely. Only he gets to create incumbency, Dom. Through judicial appointments. Think Scotty, think Bradley, think Kelly. Only he gets to choose, Dom. Because incumbency is a huge advantage. And if you win a special election, you are senator by definition or assembly member by definition. You've got a clear advantage in the fall election. Scott Walker, he wants to be the only one that has the advantage, be it through gerrymandering, through fixed elections. Maybe it's through Cambridge Analytica. We're going to talk about that as well. Connect the dots between the smoking man, Mark Block, and our own gubernator, Scotty Walker. Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now, joins us soon. The phone line's open and toll-free to you right now. Call or text the party line, 844-967-2789.
If I called it today, it couldn't be till after the beginning of April, for which we'd be days away from the special election and probably a good month after the legislature adjourned.
Man, I don't know what the you just said, little kid, but you special, man. You reached out and you touched it by the heart.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Wanker!
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA not only in my state but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, and in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on YouTube and Facebook. On Twitter at Devil Radio. And the phones and the text line as well. 844-967-2789.
Call it the party line, man. That's 844-96-PARTY. Dominic, we've got a friend joining us soon, Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now, to connect the dots between the Smokin' Man and the Wankinator. But in the meantime, I want to quote an article from our friend Batman Matt Rothschild. I found it over at the urbanmilwaukee.com. Corporate campaign donations top $1 million. 2 Wisconsin Indian tribes and real estate and beer interest led the special interest that made more than $1 million in corporate campaign contributions in 2017 to 4 legislative campaign committees in the state Democratic and Republican parties. By party, the Republicans accepted $900,000, $375. The Democrats accepted $133,750, nearly a 7-to-1 difference. The party's committees and amounts corporate contributions they've accepted in the last year. Committee to elect a Republican Senate, $383,000. Republican Assembly Campaign Committee, RACC, $362,000. Republican Party of Wisconsin, about $155,000. The Assembly Democratic Campaign Committee, $64,000. Senate Democratic Committee, $62,000. And the Dem Party of Wisconsin, a cool $6,700. A fairly nice used car for that.
Fairly.
The Ho-Chunk Nation doled out a total of $53,000, including $12,000 each to 4 Democratic and GOP legislative campaign committees, and $5,000 to the state Democratic Party. The Tribe, which operates a half a dozen casinos in Wisconsin, gave the exact same amounts in 2016. The Forest County Potawatomi Community Dom of Milwaukee contributed $42,000, including $34,000 to the GOP and just $8,000 to 2 Democratic legislative campaign committees. Well, that doesn't seem quite fair. Take my gambling business elsewhere, perhaps. The Wisconsin, more importantly, just advertise here, cost effectively on radio. The Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network, as soon as they start giving us some money, we'll say nice things about them.
Is that one of those?
Sure. Why shouldn't I be like every other Republican, Dom? The Wisconsin Homeowners Alliance, which sponsors electioneering activities for its affiliate, the WRA, the Realtors, contributed a total of $40,500, including $36,000 to the state GOP and 2 Republican legislative campaign committees, and $4,500 to the Democrats. That's like a 10-to-1, right? Almost. And 2 corporate contributors of note, Quick Trip, Dom, which was awarded $21 million in income tax incentives by Weedick. Tesla Motors, which was the impetus behind a GOP bill introduced late last year to exempt electric auto manufacturers from state laws that bar auto and truck makers from selling their products directly to consumers. And Timberland Investment Resources, which owns a subsidiary called Meteor Timber that received some help last month from the GOP-controlled Assembly for sand processing. Fracking, Dom. All the Republican favorites. Come back with us. Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now, Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's only resistance radio network. Hotel Casino to follow? We'll see.
The biggest fear that I and I think a lot of our supporters have is the outside money.
You Becky, Stan.
Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Believe me, there is no collusion. Believe me.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life.
Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Stu Daniels, host of Stu Man PM. Politics and music heard every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Stu Man PM is your Sunday afternoon update on two of my favorite topics, politics and music. Join me this Sunday when my guest will be Congresswoman Gwen Moore. We'll be talking politics, we'll be talking music, and we'll be talking Hamilton. Stu Man PM, Sundays 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. This Saturday is the March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. and other cities across the United States, including several cities in Wisconsin. In Milwaukee, marchers will meet at the county courthouse beginning at 9:30, then march to Red Arrow Park beginning at 10 o'clock. The event is scheduled to last until 3 p.m. and everyone is welcome. In Madison, marchers will meet at Library Mall beginning at 9:30, then march to the Capitol beginning at 10 o'clock. And beginning Sunday, a group of high school students from across Wisconsin are planning to march 50 miles over 4 days from the state capitol to Speaker Paul Ryan's hometown of Janesville to try to persuade the speaker to support gun control legislation. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we've been joined by a fine guest live via phone. He is our friend Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now. Mike, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates.
Pleasure to be here this afternoon, gentlemen.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Well, I've been sort of eagerly anticipating this conversation, Mike. I can't wait to help connect the dots between that smoking man, the Cambridge Analytica dude, Mark Block, and Scott Walker, Wisconsin's own. Help me do so. Where do the initial connections between Scott Walker and Mark Block begin, sir?
Oh, well, you know, Mark Block has a long and sordid history in Wisconsin politics. So, you know, it's really little surprise that where there's election sleaze going on, you're going to find him. You know, I mean, I think we've seen there's been a lot of reporting breaking in the state, you know, about how he worked with Herman Cain's presidential campaign, and you know, if we go into the Wayback Machine, you know, he has the distinction, I believe, of being one of the only people ever suspended from politics in the state of Wisconsin for his work on a state Supreme Court race back in the late 90s. You know, and really, it's interesting. This court race, one, resulted in the then largest fine in the history of the state of Wisconsin for a violation of election law, and that was levied against the campaign of Judge John Wilcox. But also, it was over the issue of coordination between outside groups and candidates. Where have we heard that before, or since? I guess. You know, and so I think, you know, you can see that some of Scott Walker's ideas about how campaigns and ostensibly independent groups can find synergy between their electoral efforts, you know, really goes back to this campaign. You know, at a time when Scott Walker would have been sitting in the state assembly watching all of this going on. You know, the other interesting thing about Mark Block, and the one that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, And then I think is also related to the whole larger issue of the electoral muckery of Cambridge Analytics, is this guy was at the center of a vote caging scheme back in 2008 when John McCain was running for president.
And you're talking about Mark Block was part of a caging scheme.
Mark Block when he was wearing his Americans for Prosperity hat. So
all right, so Mike, I know this is kind of crazy. So Mark Block was fined during his campaign work on the Wilcox Supreme Court race.
Yeah,
and banned from politics.
And
then banned from politics for 3 years. And then when he came back, he took a job with the Koch-backed Americans for Prosperity.
Yep. And not long after that, he was involved in what we would call electoral shenanigans again, right? So his gang, Americans for Prosperity, was working with some of the Tea Party groups here in the state of Wisconsin, and then head of the Wisconsin Republican Party, Reince Priebus. The idea was that Americans for Prosperity would send out a mailing targeting student areas and areas of the city of Milwaukee where you had large minority populations. They'd send out a mailing to people, at an address with across the top of it printed, do not forward. And if any of those mailings came back to them, they would then go to the polls on Election Day with this return piece of mail, and if these people showed up to vote, they would challenge their ability to vote. I mean, this is this kind of vote caging tactic is something that we've seen in the South, and is a long established voter suppression technique. And surprise, surprise, Mark Block was at the center of it. Our group had actually obtained a audio recording of one of the Tea Party guys discussing the scheme and saying how they had gotten buy-in from AFP, from Americans for Prosperity, Block's group, and Reince Priebus.
Now, Block denied this. Didn't everyone deny this at first, Mike?
Well, they tried to, but the thing was that there was a recording of them talking about it. So so they had a little bit of an issue there.
My understanding, Mike, sorry to interrupt. We are the Devil's Advocates. We've got Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now, on the phone. Mike, Americans for Prosperity, they were in big for Scott Walker. My understanding, they received $520,000 from the Bradley Foundation, which was then chaired by Michael Grebe, who was also, Scott Walker's campaign chair. And AFP went on to spend $3.7 million in ads supporting the governor after Act 10 dropped hell. They even had a bus tour, Stand With Walker. AFP, that's Mark Block's group, they were in directing, funneling the righties' dark money from the very beginning in support of Scott Walker, were they not?
Absolutely. They ran that whole, they were the ones who were sponsoring that whole series of, the quote-unquote "it's working" ads, right? Which at that point were really just thinly veiled campaign ads trying to protect the electoral fortunes of Scott Walker. Listen, these guys have been working really through any means necessary, violating whatever rules they thought stood in their way, and rigging elections however they could to try and advance their favorite politicians. And I think this is really just an extension of what has been a very old story here in Wisconsin. And there was there have been reports that Wisconsin was among the states that was targeted with some of this Cambridge Analytica associated Facebook chicanery.
Mike, I guess it shouldn't be surprising. I mean, if you look at any of the national headlines, especially some of these recent headlines involving Russian collusion, starting with the founder or the funder of Fusion GPS, well, that was Paul Singer. That was a Scott Walker campaign donor during the recall. You look at the NRA and their Russian connections. Well, that was Scott Walker's friend Butina, who he greeted in Russian, who was at his campaign launch, and torsion. You look at the newest headlines, Cambridge Analytica. We hear the story about Mark Block. Of course, between the two, well, it was Rebecca Mercer, a Scott Walker campaign donor, or at least a third-party donor in support of Scott Walker during the recall, that is a board member of Cambridge Analytica. It was Scott Walker's digital team that went over and supplied the digital work for Cambridge Analytica. And I wouldn't be at all surprised, Mike, and I haven't seen any reporting of this. I'm wondering if your organization has. Did they take Scott Walker's data with them? We talk about Wisconsin being targeted. Well, who's got better data on the ground than the governor who's run for re-election, recalls, et cetera, what, this will be his fourth elective term in 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Scott Walker and his gang surrounding him have turned Wisconsin, this state has really been turned into a laboratory for right-wing policies and right-wing campaign tactics, right? I mean, they have test run all kinds of stuff here, and I think it will not be surprising as this story continues to be investigated. If we see even more connections between Walker's gang and what was going on here with Cambridge Analytica and the Trump campaign. I'll tell you, I think Scott Walker has some questions to answer here, and it is, I think, very telling that he has been so supremely uninterested in this scandal and the other efforts Trump and his administration have been making to muck with voting. He has shown a surprising lack of interest in all of this stuff, and I think it is high time for him to start answering some questions about what he knew and what his gang has been up to as part of all of this.
And Mike, even if the guy is completely innocent, which of course we know he's not, but even if he is, he still refuses to fund proper election security right here in the state of Wisconsin. Want to get your comment about that? We're in an election year right now, and we have deficiencies, at least according to the Elections Commission. What do you think about Scott Walker not putting proper resources behind the elections? We asked Jen Schilling very recently, and it was hard for her not to say that this shortcoming, this bleeding it dry, is not without intent by the governor.
Listen, this is a guy who has literally refused to call elections because he's afraid of losing them, right? He is perfectly comfortable with canceling democracy if he thinks it's not working to his advantage. So I think there is really no level that he won't stoop to keep his own rear in what he refers to as the government hammock for another 4 years. We have seen it time and time again. The manipulations and what they are willing to do, and I think gee whiz, not filling some positions at the elections board or not doing something is easy. They are perfectly willing to not do something. And I think especially you have to consider their inaction in the context of everything that they have been willing to do to rig the rules on in their favor.
Mike, I know this. Some of this information that we're sharing goes back to 2010. And when I was doing some research on this topic and this gentleman, Mark Block, One Wisconsin Now, your organization was all over it from the beginning, Mike. Do you recall what was the end result? I know there were complaints filed with the Elections Commission. Whatever happened? This seems like a conspiracy. There's audio recordings, backtracking by Block and the Tea Party groups. What was the final result of this issue? This is one of those. This is one of those issues where it looked like there was a lot of smoke, but we never got a final resolution, and no action was no action was taken to, at least as far as we know, to sanction them for what they were up to. And I think that's one of those really unfortunate situations, and it has built in this state, and we are in a situation now where we've got. Heck, we had, a judge today had to point out to Governor Walker that the law says you got to call an election when there are open seats. It is disappointing, but it is not surprising, that we find ourselves in this situation.
Well, Mike Brown, I've got a final question for you, sir. from your perspective, from your vast knowledge as a politico here in the great state of Wisconsin, what is the likelihood that Scott Walker will appeal the judge's ruling that he must hold these special elections? The Scott Walker appointed judge, damn Dane County judicial activist. Mike, I'm taking odds over here. I'm betting he's going to appeal.
I think obviously their intention has been all along to try and run out the clock, and I would expect that they would continue to appeal this all the way to the state Supreme Court, which they have invested vast sums of money into skew in their favor. So, why wouldn't they, right? Because, listen, this is Scott Walker. I think we have seen Scott Walker is all about how does Scott Walker win the next election, and he is deathly afraid of losing even more momentum with more, with elections that they are likely to lose, and he will fight to his dying breath, I think, to keep this from happening.
Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now. Mike, every time you see a bad headline now, do you feel it's necessary to also grab Scott Walker's name, Google the principals, and see how up to his armpits he is in the newest scandal? Where there is trouble and scandal, there is oftentimes a Walker found. The only thing I haven't heard him accused of yet, introducing Donald Trump to Stormy Daniels.
Don't count it out.
Right. Thank you, Mike.
Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show today. Your opinion's always welcome. Can't just be me and Don doing all the heavy lifting. 844-967-2789. It's the party line. Call or text 844-96-PARTY. We'll be right back. More Devil's Advocates.
And if it is Russia, which is probably not, nobody knows who it is.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind.
They can go suck lemons.
Having a great time.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm Glendale Mayor Brian Kennedy, running for re-election in April. You can learn more about my campaign at kennedyforglendalemayor.com. I'm joined today by my friend Matt Flynn, former state Democratic Party chair and candidate for governor. Matt, why are you running for governor?
We used to have honest government, clean water, and high wages in this state. Now under Walker, we have corrupt government, dirty water, and low wages. I'm going to change that.
You can vote for Brian Kennedy for mayor on April 3rd in Glendale and Matt Flynn for governor in the Democratic primary on August 14th. Paid for by Kennedy for Glendale.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Please tune in Saturday, March 24th from noon to 3 p.m. when Earl Ingram anchors special coverage of the 10th Annual Wisconsin Grassroots Festival from Mazomanie, People Organizing for Solutions. Speakers include Lisa Graves, John Nichols, Matt Rothschild, Congressman Mark Pocan, and Senator Tammy Baldwin. Tune in right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, Saturday, March 24th, noon to 3.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the phone and text line 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank our most recent guest, to find one indeed, a friend of ours. He was Mike Brown. He's still Mike Brown, I suspect. Hopefully, he's still deputy director of One Wisconsin Now. It was a good appearance. No one's getting canned over that one, I hope.
Hey, you got to jump in. Jeff from Madison, using the fancy new text feature we got.
Ooh, that's sweet.
Threw this one out there. SKW probably sold his data to cover his campaign debt.
Yes.
Yes.
Guy was burning money like MC Hammer. $90K a day. $90,000 a day.
Can't touch this.
Nice, Dom. He's dancing. It's not just the cleverness of his thought. It's the dancing. At $90,000 a day, Dom, that is probably, well, I know that's significantly more than the average Wisconsin household spends in a year.
And a staff of 160?
Yeah.
Damn, I mean, he was going down to Iowa and setting up like lights and speakers and stage in diners.
Buddy, it takes a lot of money to fail that mightily, that rapidly.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Dom, we've been talking about caging, or Mark Block's prior efforts at caging in Milwaukee. Mary Spicuzza reports, Mary Spicuzza of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, thousands of Milwaukee voters have been dropped from voter rolls, including some erroneously, through the state's registration system, city officials said Wednesday. Some 44,000 voters were removed from city rolls after the state started using a new process in the Electronic Registration Information Center. Eric, it's unclear how many of those were dropped in error. Here's what Tom Barrett said. This is not a problem that has been caused at the local level. Barrett, of course, the mayor of Milwaukee, he said it at a City Hall news conference. Barrett said problems were caused by incorrect data provided by the State Department of Motor Vehicles. That's Scott Walker, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has.
Yes, he does.
That
DMV,
department. That's Scott Walker's DMV, right?
Yes.
And the U.S. Postal Service, leading some voters who haven't actually moved or changed addresses to be erroneously dropped from the rolls. Here's what Barrett said. We're very concerned with the number of legitimate voters whose records have been deactivated. During the February primary, a small turnout election, nearly 100 city voters learned that they had been removed from the polls even though they hadn't changed addresses, Barrett said. They were able to re-register and vote, he added. City officials have been working with the state's election commission to identify errors. The commission recently approved plans for a supplemental poll list, including everyone who was deactivated as a result of the move to Eric. Sounds less harmful when you call it Eric.
Yeah, when you give it a name like that.
It's like naming your car, right?
It's like Matt or Alex.
And then running people over with it. Those voters will not have to re-register at the polls. Again, a quote, this one by Reed Magny, our friend over at the former GAB, I guess it's the Elections Commission. Now, there's a very small percentage of people who were on that list who hadn't actually moved, but their DMV records indicate different addresses. The Elections Commission doesn't go far enough for Barrett. He called on the commission to reactivate all voters dropped, erroneously or not, through the Eric process, but Magny said at this point, it's too late to move everyone who was deactivated back onto the poll list. Well, why must you remove them from the poll list? Who's making this ask?
Neil Albrecht, the executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission, said the 44,000 voters dropped from the rolls came after another 40,000 voters were purged because they hadn't voted in the past 4 years. That means the number of registered voters in the city of Milwaukee dropped from about 330,000 to 246,000 total. He said that number is about the lowest our voter registration records have been in the last 50 years in the city of Milwaukee. Albert
Just like
said.
Scott Walker wants it, Dom.
He and Barrett warned that the errors could disproportionately affect voters from impoverished communities. Milwaukee is now the only city that's been experiencing problems due to the errors. Dozens of active Green Bay area voters found they had been removed from voter rolls when they went to cast ballots in the February primary. Barrett on Wednesday sent a letter to Governor Scott Walker urging him to reactivate voters who were dropped from the polls. The right to vote is fundamental, and exercising that right should be simple and fair. Voters are urged to visit myvote.wi.gov or call 414-266-CITY to check registration status. The Wisconsin Election Commission's toll-free number for non-residents, 866-868-3947.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates going to break. Coming back on the other side with you on the phones, 844-967-2789.
There's more. Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean. The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Mother of all trade wars, keeping government running. I'm Michael Toscano. Stocks taking a deep dive on Wall Street today after President Trump announced trade action against China. Steve Kastenbaum keeping an eye on the numbers for us.
Stock prices started off the trading day with a more than 300-point drop, and they remained volatile as Wall Street waited for the president's official announcement about tariffs that'll affect goods made in China and other countries.
With China, we're going to be doing a Section 301 trade action. It could be about $60 billion, but that's really just a fraction of what we're talking about.
After Trump unveiled his plan, they dropped dramatically. Fear of retaliation sparking a trade war sent the Dow down over 700 points, almost 3%.
Thanks, Steve. Big losses as well on the NASDAQ, down 179 points, and the S&P 500 off 68. Correspondent Christina Alessi telling us investors really worry about a trade war.
It's pure fear that the administration has unleashed the mother of all trade wars, announcing tariffs on China. This, of course, is sparking fear of retaliation from China, which holds a large portion of U.S. debt.
And speaking of debt, Congress is well on its way to sending President Trump a $1.3 trillion spending bill that will keep the government from shutting down again tomorrow night. The House passing the measure this afternoon after loading it with extra spending for both the military and for domestic programs, getting widespread bipartisan support. The Senate has it now, as Democratic leader Chuck Schumer tells us.
This agreement just passed the House with a very large vote, and I'm confident it will pass the Senate by a comfortable margin as well.
President Trump says he approves of the bill. The president says he still wants to testify before Russia's special counsel Robert Mueller. This as Trump's lead lawyer on Russia, John Dowd, left the team today. A red flag order issued against Zachary Cruz, brother of dead Florida high school shooter Nicholas Cruz, to take away his guns and keep him from getting others. I'm Michael Toscano.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
China says it's going to retaliate for President Trump slapping tens of billions of dollars worth of tariffs and trade restrictions on Chinese imports into this country. So what might China actually be able to do? Let's find out from Jan Johnson, who joins us now. Jan?
Well, Michael, China is one of the biggest buyers of U.S. crops, including soybeans. China could put a tariff on those or decide to buy more soy from countries like Brazil and Argentina. The Boeing Aircraft Company might be vulnerable in the longer term. It's the single largest U.S. exporter, and China is a critical market for the company. Chinese airlines could place more orders for competitor Airbus planes in the future.
And we owe the Chinese lots of money, right?
China is also the biggest creditor of the U.S. It owns more U.S. government bonds than any other country. It could start dumping that debt with serious consequences for the U.S.
Thanks, Jan Johnson. I'm Michael Toscano.
Juice, Mom. Juice, juice, juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store?
Mom, I want juice.
Mom.
Juice, juice, juice.
Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in '92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 bills and some change already, brother.
Guns Butter Economics, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Wisconsin Assembly unanimously approved new bills aimed at preventing bad landlords from buying more properties at sheriff's auctions and to make it easier for the public to be involved in the auctions. The State Assembly is set to approve Governor Walker's re-election agenda today, including the child tax rebate, closing Lincoln Hills, and the school safety plan. And there is a Wisconsin connection to the Facebook scandal involving Cambridge Analytica. Longtime Wisconsin Republican operative Mark Bloc, who has connections to the Koch brothers, is said to be the one who brought together Steve Bannon and Cambridge Analytica. Outside today, sunshine, and then mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 20s. Sunshine tomorrow, highs around 40 degrees. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, I was just saying yesterday, a long day, but every day around here is a long day filled with passion and Walker bashing. At least if we're doing it right.
It kind of rhymes a little bit, Crudy.
Passion and Walker bashing. When I mispronounce the words, it sure seemingly rhymes.
And you do that well.
I do enunciate so poorly that it sometimes sounds melodious.
Like a great rap.
Or melodious, depending on your point of view. Dom, new story for the new hour. Well, celebration time. Come on. We got the lowest unemployment rate in Wisconsin's history, Dom. And you know who's going to brag lots and lots about it? The Goobinator.
It's Walker's economy. You know, he did have a 2-page jobs plan. Remember that?
Was it in crayon or pencil?
Now, there may have been some graphics along with it, but when I condense down the actual words, it's a 2-page plan from when he first ran for governor.
Single or double space?
Good question. I'll go get it for you.
Here's the headline of the day. The big breaking news for Scotty Wanker. Wisconsin's unemployment rate reaches an all-time record low of 2.9%, or so reports our friend Matthew DeFore. Found this one at themadison.com, Dom. Wisconsin's unemployment rate reached 2.9% in February, the lowest monthly level in state history, according to the Department of Workforce Development. Let's not forget they work for Wanker. The unemployment milestone provides a major boost for Republican Governor Scott Walker as he runs for a third term in November. When Walker took office in January 2011, the state's unemployment rate was 8%, as the country recovered from the worst recession since the Great Depression, or as Walker would tell you, Jim Doyle.
It's all Jim Doyle's fault.
Jim Doyle's fault. Here's what Wanker said in a statement. Wisconsin is literally working as more people are employed today than ever before in our history. This is a big win for Wisconsin. The figure is preliminary, meaning it could change as more data is collected, because the Walker administration has a habit of making rosy, bold claims.
And then not correcting the record when the real information comes out?
Well, it just takes a few months, and by then we've all moved on and forgotten about it. The preliminary unemployment rate in December was 3%, which tied the previous record set in May, June, and July of 1999, before it was adjusted up to 3.2% earlier this month. An upward adjustment, Dom. I wonder if we'll see another. The rate is below what economists consider to be full employment in the state and is symptomatic of a worker shortage that companies and Walker have been concerned about in recent years. Nonetheless, a low unemployment rate is also the sign of a healthy economy that should result in rising wages for workers. Wisconsin continued to set a record high for the number of people employed in the state at 3.07 million and the total civilian labor force at 3.16 million. The labor force participation rate, and please pay attention to these numbers. I know numbers don't always work on the radio, but listen close. The labor participation rate currently under the Wankinator, 68.6%. But Dom, do you know what it was? The record high participation rate in the state of Wisconsin? 74.8%, about 10% higher than the participation rate right now.
In September and October of 1997, that was pre-Walker, Democrats have harped on Walker's failed 2010 promise to create 250,000 jobs in his first term, a milestone the state has still not reached, according to the latest federal data. Job creation has continued to lag the national average for 25 quarters. 25 quarters, while the unemployment rate is 1.2 percentage points below the national rate of 4.1%.
Wait. 25 quarters. Divide that number by 4. So about 8 years, Wisconsin has lagged the national. How long's Walker been governor?
About that long.
7+ years he's been the gubernator.
Wisconsin's economy is such a mess that we've seen declining family wages, even with a low unemployment rate. Senate Minority Leader Jennifer Schilling said Republican policies that reward corporations with massive tax breaks aren't helping to grow our middle class or put more money in the pockets of hardworking families. Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce, the state's largest business lobbying group, attributed the milestone to Walker's policies, adding that, quote, other states should be looking to Wisconsin as an example of how to revitalize an economy.
But we've been trailing the national for 25 quarters, or basically Scott Walker's entire term down.
And he still has yet to reach his big super goal of 250,000 jobs. Maybe, folks, if you vote him in again this fall, then he'll get to it.
He'll get there for surezies this time.
Our pal, WMC President Kurt Bauer, well, he put a statement out. Crudy, here's what he had to say. Our state has never seen unemployment levels this low, and it is because government has gotten out of the way and made it possible for the business community to retain and create new jobs. Looking to where Wisconsin was less than a decade ago shows the true difference between public policies that aim to hamper employers and ones that empower employers to drive our economy forward.
Sounds like a Scott Walker campaign pitch.
Yes,
Dom,
it does.
As Kurt Bauer parrots the governor, all good news, all rosy. Labor participation rates, as Matthew DeFord, the journalist, points out, down from October and September of 1997 when it was 74.8. We're under 70%. We're at 68.7. And I would point out, Dom, Eric Sullivan, one of our fair listeners, shared this with me. I'm going to share it with you. Real median household income in Wisconsin. Now, this was most recently updated September of 2017. But we talked about 1997, very good year for the state of Wisconsin, at least labor participation. Well, it was, Dom, and in fact, it was a very good year for wage in the state of Wisconsin. Let's see what the high water mark was. 1999, let's say that's the best year. The household median income in Wisconsin at that time, Dom, $65,831 per year. You know what it is in 2016? 17 years later, under Scott Walker, the median household income in Wisconsin, $59,817. Now, I'm not exactly clear, this chart, the source, the U.S. Census Bureau, not exactly clear if this adjusts.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can see here.
1999 household median income, almost 66,000. 2016, almost 60,000. So what, 6,000, over 6,000 less?
17 years later.
Well, that's a hell of a trend.
It's a hell of a trend. And what has happened here in the state of Wisconsin? I mean, we know historically low unemployment rate, sing it from the rooftops. But what about household income?
Yeah.
How about household income? Why are we doing so much worse under Governor Scott Walker than we did 20 years ago, even a decade ago? Why is it that the state of Wisconsin is going backwards in terms of household income? Maybe not in the last couple of years. Seeing modest wage increase in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but we're still below.
But the historical trend is 10%
negative.
less. You've seen a 10% pay cut across all households as a median income in the state of Wisconsin over the last 17 years.
Yeah, but the good news is inflation hasn't at all impacted like healthcare and, groceries. And
Scott Walker has been the governor
estate
for about half of that time frame. So when you hear him bragging, when you see him out there sloganeering and ginning out some more bumper stickers for the re-election campaign, bragging, if you will, Dom, about how his economy's moving Wisconsin forward. What about labor participation rate?
Lower than it was.
10% lower than it was. Used to be 74.8%. Now we're at 68.7% since Walker's become the governor. And when you look at the household median income in the state of Wisconsin, it is down about $10,000 per household. I get that right?
$6,000 per household.
Over 17 years, we have seen a median household income in the state of Wisconsin decline by $6,000, down below $60,000 a year. That is more than a 10% decline in median household income in the state of Wisconsin. So these are the good times, Walker? This is what you're bragging about?
Oh, of course. This is what he's running on, man.
And above and beyond that, Dom, you've mentioned this. If they're so damn historically low, these unemployment rates, then why are we incentivizing at record level 17% of the wage paid by Foxconn will be paid by you and I, the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin?
Well, that's because it's
literal cash payments.
And that's exactly the point. Why would you subsidize something like, I don't know, hiring, like jobs, when we already have, according to this report in Walker's own Department of Workforce Development, lowest unemployment in a long time?
And not only for one foreign corporation that's very, very close to the Illinois border, and let's not forget, if they hire a lot of flatlanders, that will be decimating for the opportunity for Wisconsin taxpayers to ever actually break even on that boondoggle investment in air quotes, Scott Walker's making. But above and beyond that, he wants to do it all over again for Kimberly-Clark. They're not even asking for the money. Foxconn 2.0, another 17% incentive after that company got a tax cut. And let's not forget, manufacturers in the state, 0.4% effective tax rate. These are Scott Walker's policies. I don't know if you look at the real math, Scotty, but it ain't working. Come back with us. More Devils.
Our economy's on fire.
We are moving Wisconsin forward.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
They can go suck lemons. Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the American worker.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
The Devil's Advocates.
U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. What about simply raising the age of weapons purchases to 21 years of age?
We're sending 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds over to Afghanistan, and they're dying. They ought to be able to vote. They ought to be able to have a beer, and they ought to be able to buy a gun to hunt with as well.
Are you suggesting we lower the drinking age?
No. Can't they do that now? What is the age nowadays?
It's 21, sir.
We drink when we toast. We toast when we drink.
Yikes.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through, like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And you can get a hold of us phone or text at 844-967-2789.
You know, I'm kind of tired.
I'm tired.
I didn't know this job was going to be so hard.
Nobody knew.
Dominic, Governor Scott Walker's Medicaid director, her name Heather Smith, she's got an op-ed at the urbanmilwaukee.com online daily. I'd like to share a piece with you. Recently, Senator Kathleen Feinhout penned an opinion piece harshly critical of strong new welfare reforms championed by Governor Scott Walker. I will remind you, Heather Smith is a Scott Walker employee, appointment, if you will, loaded with spurious claims that the disabled would lose their vehicles and farm families, their livestock. Even a cursory glance at the legislation reveals these claims to be obviously, patently false.
Obviously.
Let's set this record straight. Wisconsinites are generous people. We consistently rank in the top 5 of Americans' most charitable states. I had to look that up just to be sure. And that generosity extends to our many welfare programs. The Tax Policy Center shows our state and local welfare expenditures are above the national average and the highest amongst Great Lakes states. Wisconsinites are happy to provide assistance to families in need, and even happier when we can provide skills training. drug treatment, or other tools to break down barriers to employment, because another one of our Wisconsin values is the belief that work is the path to dignity and true independence.
No, I thought that was, money.
Under the leadership of Gubernator Walker, we have continued Wisconsin's legacy of leadership and welfare reform by focusing on workforce readiness. We provide more than just a check, but access to the kinds of training and treatment able-bodied adults need to get back on their feet and back in the workplace. The newest reforms will expand work and training participation for able-bodied adults on food share, require able-bodied adults to pay their child support, and require drug screening for state housing. In addition, we would put in place generous asset limits, constraining the value of cash and stocks to $25,000, homes to $312,000, and personal vehicles to $20,000 to participate in welfare programs. Do you have to drive it up to a drive-through? A guy's going to assess the car like you're taking it into trade. I'd like to give you $21,000, but then you lose your ability to be eligible.
I know it's terrible.
For social safety nets.
No, come on, Crudy. She's going to put it all into context.
What if dad's a drug addict? You can't have housing for the kids then? I mean, the kids, what? They got to live on the streets because we're going to force them to do something different. Be able-bodied, ready for work.
Able-bodied adults. For context, half of Americans have under $1,000 in their savings accounts, and the median savings account balance is just over $5,000. The median valued home in Wisconsin is half the new limits, a bit over $150,000, and the average used car price is just over $19,000. Contrary to Vinehout's claims, farm, land, equipment, livestock, buildings are all excluded. People with disabilities and the elderly have been and will continue to be exempt from these work requirements and asset limits. The focus of these proposals is to assure the state provides good benefits to all those truly in need, as well as the tools to break down any barriers to independence and employment. With unemployment in Wisconsin at historic lows and 90,000 jobs listed on the state's employment website.
That number grows every time some Walker aide's bragging about it, Tom.
Employers are feeling the pinch as they struggle to find skilled, drug-free workers. You get free drugs? And job seekers are facing the reality that they may need some training to get the job they want.
How about training provided by the employer and not the state taxpayer?
And once again, I have to ask the question. If we are at such historic lows with unemployment and there is a worker shortage, why the hell would you subsidize job creation to the tune of $4.5 billion for a foreign corporation? This is exactly the time you don't do something like that. You subsidize it when there's high unemployment. That's when you do it. When there's when there's a lot of people in the workforce looking for work. That's when you do the subsidies, don't you?
Another problem we have here in the state of Wisconsin, they call it the brain drain. We have seen, while Scott Walker has been governor, a net outward migration of 68,000 Badgers. 68,000 Wisconsinites have left to find greener pastures where Scotty Wanker ain't the governor. Come back with us, more Devil's Advocates.
This is more work than in my previous life. I thought it would be easier.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Well, you are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Ooh, I just felt a trickle down. No, I don't recall doing it.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Milwaukee city officials say about 44,000 voters have been dropped from the city's voter registration rolls by the state. That is in addition to the 40,000 voters who were recently dropped because they haven't voted in the past 4 years. To make sure you are registered, you can go to myvote.wi.gov. The next election is a week from Tuesday. And the Bucks lost to the Clippers last night, 127-120. They are now in the 8th position in the Eastern Conference. Their next game is tomorrow night in Chicago. Outside today, sunshine, and then mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 20s. Sunshine tomorrow, highs around 40 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny and windy, highs again around 40. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, 1510 a.m. Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 a.m. Columbus, Madison. Dom, people are going to have to see which Resistance Radio signal is right for them. And I would remind people, you can always live stream this product either at domandcroot.com. I prefer crootandom.com. Both variants work. News Talk 1510 a.m. You can find us, Alexa at home. If you say, Alexa, tune in WRD 1510 a.m., I believe. I've only done it a couple times, but I believe it brings us up.
Do you have an Alexa?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you do?
Yes, so Big Brother can snoop right inside my house.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice. You paid for your own surveillance.
I didn't pay for you-know-what, but my kids got one. But as I was driving around, the back of Russ Feingold's hand yesterday, most of southern Wisconsin, and I would point out the Resistance Radio signal, it goes over most of southern Wisconsin. They had Michael sent me an email the other day. He was listening to the 1580 signal, drove all the way from Watertown to Dodgeville, listening to this fine radio station.
Nice.
And if you're going from Madison driving towards Milwaukee, it might be the 1580 signal is best for you. But if you're driving from Milwaukee towards Madison, the 1510 signal might be right for you. I mean, hell, up in the Fox Valley, it's probably 1510. But over in, let's say, Wisconsin Dells, that's a 1580 listener. Dom, you must keep checking, because I tell you what, when you're going east-west, if you're driving from like Milwaukee to Madison, at some point our competitors over at Heartless Radio and the for sale supposedly sold Scripps product, you're going to hear a lot of staticky buzz at some point on their signal. And our signal, well, it'll also get its staticky buzz, but we've got a ready alternative with the very same fine resistance radio programming. You just hit 1580. So you might have to set 2 on your presets. But I assure you, I can drive from my house on the far west side of Madison, Middleton, get up in the morning, put it on resistance radio. At some point I might have to hit the second reset, but I can drive all the way clear signal, all the way into Brady Street, pull in, park it, and come in and create some of this fine radio we hear on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network.
Nice.
But again, always streaming live, 1510 a.m., 1580 a.m. Tell all your friends. I mean, people are finding out, especially in the Madison area. I've had some joyful reunions.
We pounded around there for a long time, for many years, Crudy, and then we just disappeared for a little while. Now we're back.
We're back. The boys are back. Dom, I saw this thing, and we are definitely going to do some Trump trashing before this show's over.
We just got a text in from the text line, 844-967-2789. Call or text. Here is what someone said. I drove up to my cabin in Coloma and got 1580 all the way to Westfield. Came in good.
Nice. It's not a Coloma? It's not a Tuma?
It's not a Tuma.
I've always thought Coloma is a bit of an odd name for a community. I'm sure it's a very nice community. Very fine people there.
What?
Just a little, when I hear it, I just think it's a medical procedure.
Yeah, Coloma's very nice. Very good.
I got my Coloma done. Doctor says I got to watch my Coloma. It's getting a little, out of normal ranges.
It's getting a little thick in here. That's
my
what
Coloma levels.
My Coloma. Hey, Coloma.
Dominic, we've been spending a little time bashing the Wankinator, and I think we're right to do so. Mike McCabe, a friend of ours, he's running as a Dem for governor, and he's got an interesting pledge he made today. I want to share it with some of our fine progressive independents and even our conservative friends. McCabe makes Badger pledge, not Donkey pledge. Now, Donkey pledge, that was the argument Scott Fitzgerald's been having over in the state Senate about bestiality. Is that the pledge? March 22nd, 2018. I know, Brian, you want us to talk about that so badly. That's like your favorite story. We're talking about a different sort of horse's ass. We're talking about Scott Walker. Wisconsin governor candidate Mike McCabe today pledged allegiance to all of the people of Wisconsin and not to any party, making him the one and only candidate running in the Democratic primary to publicly withhold a promise to endorse whomever wins the party's nomination on August 14th. Before I read on, Dom.
Is that a thing? I mean, is this what, I mean?
He is the first one in the ever-broadening Democratic gubernatorial primary who has not pledged to endorse whoever wins the primary. Dom.
Has everybody else has publicly come out and said that they will vote for whoever comes out of the primary, or is he just the first one to physically to
He is the first one to bring it up in a very Trump-like fashion. Who was the guy in the Republican primary who wasn't going to make the pledge to support whoever the eventual nominee is? It was Donald Trump.
Oh, was it?
One guy, Donald Trump, refused to take the pledge. They all raised their hand. Trump would not.
Well, I mean,
Brett
so
Baer
is
asked the
McCabe
question.
leaving himself open to run as an independent? Should he not win the Dem primary?
Well, you can.
I mean, what other? There's only a couple options here. If you're gonna pledge to, if you're not going to commit to that, well, maybe you still could. I guess there's a few options. He could come around, and if he doesn't win the primary, he could come around to eventually support whoever the Dem candidate would be, or he runs as an independent, or he supports Governor Scott Walker.
844-967-2789. Call or text the party line, 844-96-PARTY. I'd like to know what people think of, and I'm going to read Mike McCabe's explanation here in a moment. But before I do, I'd like to know what people think. Now, I'm Dem supportive, Dom, and I can tell you this. If I were Mike McCabe, I would not be making this promise, this pledge. I'd be pledging to support whoever the Democratic nominee is, because as you mentioned, What's plan B? Voting for Scotty Wanker? Withholding your endorsement? Taking your supporters, your chips, and going home, Mike?
Yeah, running as an
independent. What are you going to do?
What does he say?
McCabe's campaign issued the following statement expressing his thoughts on the matter. I am running for governor to serve the people of our state, not a political party. I will gladly make a badger pledge, but not a donkey pledge. I understand the impulse behind the question. Partly, party insiders keep asking, but it is a losing impulse, according to Mike McCabe. Democrats didn't lose more than 1,000 seats in Congress and state legislatures and governor's offices throughout the country in the last decade because they have not been united. They lost so much ground to too many voters out there that aren't sure where Democrats stand and don't trust Democrats to act on their behalf. Democrats don't hold fewer offices across America than at any time since the 1920s because of a lack of party unity. Yeah, tell that to Bernie and Hillary supporters.
Yeah, right.
What's been missing is a clarity of purpose and the courage of conviction. Swearing a party loyalty oath sends the exact wrong message to the growing masses of people who are sick and tired of partisan gridlock in our government and politicians putting the best interest of their party ahead of what's best for the state and our country. The voters who will decide the next election for governor are not sitting up right now wondering if all Democratic candidates will support each other. I have stayed up late at night wondering that, Mike McCabe. That might be the unique guy. They're questioning if they can count on a Democrat to look out for them. In any case, endorsements are earned, not inherited simply because of a party label. The rest of the Democratic candidates are becoming more closely aligned with my vision for Wisconsin with each passing week. I was the first in the race to call for making Badger Care a public health insurance option for everyone in the state, and now virtually the entire field has joined me in taking that position. I also was the first in the field to call for full legalization of marijuana. God bless you, Mike McCabe. And nearly all of the other candidates are now supporting it too. They're sounding more like me all the time. They're even dressing more like me. What, everybody bought a pair of blue jeans?
Baby.
I have two questions for the others in the race that will weigh heavily in earning my endorsement should someone other than me win on August 14th primary election. Here's the big question, Dom. Going forward, will you stop playing along with the corrupt campaign finance system that amounts to legal bribery and fund your campaign with large numbers of small donations from regular people rather than relying on wealthy donors and special interest political action committees? For the remainder of your campaign, will you lead by example by accepting no single donation over $200 and no more than a total of $1,000 from any supporter? ? A new governor can and will be elected in 2018, but only if what's best for all of Wisconsin is put ahead of party loyalty and the wishes of those at the very top who make a regular habit of giving mammoth donations to those seeking public office. After August 14th, regardless of the outcome of the primary election, whether I win or lose, I will keep working to shape up and transform the political system that serves those at the top so well and do everything in my power to get regular people in the driver's seat of our government. State law allows candidates for governor in Wisconsin to take $20,000 checks from individuals and $86,000 donations from political action committees. Once elected, McCabe will push for passage of a package of reforms that sharply lowered those limits. He isn't waiting until after the election to act, however. He's running his campaign with self-imposed limits on donations, accepting no single contribution of more than $200. Supporters are allowed to give more than once, but not more than $200 at a time, and no more than a total of $1,000 for the entire campaign. Mike McCabe, our buddy, that's his proposition, Dom. Oh, and it's so naive.
What? What are you talking about, naive? It's a little refreshing. Why is it naive?
It is naive because consider the opponent that whoever the eventual Dem nominee will have to go up against. Scott Walker will be coordinating with third-party groups.
Yeah.
Scott Walker doesn't need your direct contributions. Because historically speaking, at least, he's encouraged his donors to give to the third-party groups. In many cases, he can accept money from corporations. He can do so anonymously. He can make it tax deductible to the giver. I mean, these are all better ways of financing one's campaign. Should they be illegal? Absolutely, they were illegal. We talked about Mark Block and the Justice Wilcox case. Well, that was the precedent-setting state law that determined you could not coordinate with outside groups. And Scott Walker broke that law, flaunted that law, walked all over it, trashed it. He is the most corrupt governor of all time, at least in my history, in my lifetime. So when you got one guy who's going to break every rule, and then you got the Democrats saying, well, you know, if we only play nice and only accept $200 donations, well, then we'll just show we're above the fray. And we'll lose with dignity.
So money is the deciding factor, Michael?
Well, I'm not going to say money is the only deciding factor, but money's certainly going to play a factor. And if you are not sufficiently financed to get your message out there, and let's not forget, free speech ain't free. Free speech costs money. It's fee speech. And I'm not going to say it's not a corrupt campaign finance thing. I'd love to see Citizens United get overturned. I'd love to see, and there are a number of referendums, and we'll support those referendums to do something about Citizens United. 9 communities in Wisconsin. It's on the ballot April 3rd. I totally encourage you to vote your principles, vote big money out of politics. But until the campaign finance laws are fixed in the state of Wisconsin, stop going to a gunfight with not even a knife. I mean, you're going to a gunfight with a pillow in your hand. $200? I mean, that's a noble notion, Mike McCabe. I love you, Mike McCabe, for your noble thoughts. But they're the thoughts and the actions of a party that continues to lose. Stop playing by the rules when you know the other guy is looking for a street fight, and he ain't going to play by the rules. And I'm not saying ends justify the means, but Scott Walker being the governor again is more than I can reconcile with someone else's calls for, you know, Badger pledges and integrity.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Promises made. Have you paid into a pension plan or are currently paying into a pension? Join the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions Saturday, April 21st for an update from Washington, D.C. and the first Special Select Committee. The meeting is at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield, Wisconsin at 10 a.m. A promise is a promise is a promise. This is an issue that affects everyone. Active workers, retirees, spouses, and veterans are encouraged to attend Saturday, April 21st at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield at 10 a.m. Meetings are also taking place in Sheboygan, Endeavor, Wausau, and Green Bay. Go to the Wisconsin-Milwaukee Southeast Committee to Protect Pensions Facebook page to learn more. Join us Saturday, April 21st, 10 a.m., the American Legion Post in Brookfield. It's not their money, it's yours.
We were wrong. They stole our pensions.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies of the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org. P4ppc.org.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
That guy is a scary son of a gun, and I hope people start paying attention and get him the heck out of there, because he's like a big fascist general that's controlling our state, and then our attorney general. Wow, that guy ought to be locked up himself. I mean, he makes the sheriff of Milwaukee look kind of saintly.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Twitter is at Devil Radio, and the party line, text or call 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I don't mean to single out our friend Mike McCabe. I think he's a fine man. I love the integrity he's showing on this issue, making this Badger pledge. This, I'm only going to take $200 and $1,000 cap from any single donor. Well, that's noble. But that, to my opinion, is loser talk.
Come on, Bernie was taking $27
on average.
Yes.
He didn't cap it at $200 and say, don't send me more than that. He wasn't dealing with the same state laws that uniquely the governor of the state of Wisconsin was breaking, corrupting, and he didn't have a, Republican legislature to turn it all around to give you a get-out-of-jail-free card after the fact like Governor Scott Walker does here in the state of Wisconsin. So if coordination with third-party groups is the law of the land, why would you not coordinate with third-party groups?
Why would you take any money into your campaign? Just funnel it all through the third-party groups.
Absolutely. The only advantage to taking the money directly to your campaign is the ads are cheaper for the candidate than the third-party group. The free speech costs a little less money for the candidate than it does for a third-party group.
It's the premium you pay for being anonymous.
But that's more than offset.
And by tax-deductible donations.
Tax deductibility. Right? I mean, as a business owner, I talk with my accountant all the time. We're always saying, how do we shave a little off the taxes? Well, maybe if I gave some money to charity or called it charity and gave it, to a third-party group coordinating with the governor of the state of Wisconsin? We already read Matt Rothschild's submission today. Republicans are receiving 7-to-1 corporate dollars, not into individual campaigns. No. Into the Republican reelect the Senate committee or the Republican Party. Because, of course, Republicans got to write their own state laws on campaign finance. And do you think they're going to give up these new tools? These tools that allow for grandiose giving to, of course, Republicans? Hell no, not without fight. And you cannot fight this fight without some dollars. I'm not saying no one's ever going to outrace Scott Walker. No doubt. Mike McCabe, on his best day, is not going to scratch the surface of what Scott Walker can raise. Because that man will sell his soul for rock and roll or any sort of major political giving. Let's not forget the lead-based paint manufacturers. They paid him off. He gave him back their quid pro quo. Go Giebig Taconite. They paid him off. He gave him back the mining bill. I mean, he is malleable. He's sellable. He's buyable. Tell you about Scott Walker. Well, okay, I agree. Your soul's not for sale, Mike McCabe, and that's a noble and honorable position to take. But it ain't going to get you elected governor of the state of Wisconsin, not when your opponent is Scott Walker.
Take the money and run. 844-967-2789. Pizza Box. Mike, you're up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got for us today?
Damn, Crudy, did you get a parking ticket today?
Not today. Got to burn my saddle, though, some days, Mike. You know how it goes.
Yeah, no, listen, I got a different reaction. The exact opposite. And I'll tell you, this connects with a lot of communities that were trying to take money out of politics. How many communities did we see passing referendums over the last 2 cycles?
According to our buddy Matt Rothschild at Wisconsin Democracy Campaign, 120 communities so far in Wisconsin have voted for that.
And 9 more communities have non-binding referendums on the ballot on April 3rd. You can express your desire to take the money out. But until they do, Mike, and I don't mean advisory referendums, I mean a change in state law. Until we have justice on this point, why are we the Democrats, playing by the rules when we know invariably Scott Walker has no intent of playing by the rules?
Well, those rules have changed. You can do that now, and it's still playing by the rules. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I know it's kind of like the hard way around this, isn't it? Until we get people out of office, we really can't change too much of that. But I'm telling you, the more McCabe talks, the more I think people are going to listen. I know I like Mike, and I'll tell you what, you can trust him. And I like the message of representing everybody in this state. And you know what? I am a damn Badger. It sounds good.
Hey, I like Mike. I like Badgers. I don't like money in the campaign finance process, not these ungodly sums where the rich, the billionaires, can buy a Scott Walker. And let's not forget, that man, he sells cheap. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, Wisconsin's only resistance radio network, 1580 in Madison, 1510 in Milwaukee, and all parts in between. You figure out what signal is right for you. Dom and Crute, we'll be right back.
Evil will always triumph because good is dumb.
Badgers? Badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers!
Having a great time.
Wanker!
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm Glendale Mayor Brian Kennedy, running for re-election in April. You can learn more about my campaign at kennedyforglendalemayor.com. I'm joined today by my friend Matt Flynn, former State Democratic Party Chair and candidate for governor. Matt, why are you running for governor?
We used to have honest government, clean water, and high wages in this state. Now under Walker, we have corrupt government, dirty water, and low wages. I'm going to change that.
You can vote for Brian Kennedy for mayor on April 3rd in Glendale and Matt Flynn for governor in the Democratic primary on August 14th. Paid for by Kennedy for Glendale.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak. I'd walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Stocks plunge, Trump team resignation. I'm Barbara Cusack. President Trump has taken the first step in imposing tariffs on $60 billion worth of Chinese imports. Correspondent Steve Kastenbaum reports Wall Street reacted, with the Dow turning in its worst trading in the month of March in 17 years.
If there's one thing that causes universal concern on Wall Street, it's anything that could impede the flow of international trade. The large gains in stock prices over the past year had a lot to do with the improving global economy. So when President Trump unveiled his plan for tariffs, a plunge in stock prices accelerated. The Dow was down 724 points, a fall of close to 3%.
Correspondent Caitlin Collins says President Trump's lead lawyer in the Russia investigation, John Dowd, has left the legal team.
I'm told by sources inside the White House that the president simply grew frustrated with John Dowd in recent days and had been complaining about him, questioning his ability to lead the legal team as they deal with this response to the special counsel's investigation.
And at a White House event today, Trump said that he would like to testify before the special counsel's Russia probe. Heavy Southern California rains are threatening to cause dangerous mudslides in the hills outside Los Angeles. Correspondent Candace Crone reports more than 60,000 people were told to evacuate.
We wanted to drive around and see how things were before we left.
Craig Crummage is one of dozens of homeowners told to evacuate his home. He wanted to get one last look of the area, hoping it looks the same when he returns.
Everyone is hyper aware.
Heavy rain sent muddy brown water gushing down the road. Neighbors put out sandbags to try and keep some of that water away from their homes.
Bill Cosby's lawyers are asking the judge in his upcoming sexual assault retrial to step aside. They argue that he could be seen as biased because his wife is a social worker who has described herself as an advocate for assault victims. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Hey, my name.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey, this is Stu Daniels, host of Stu Man PM. Politics and music heard every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Stu Man PM is your Sunday afternoon update on two of my favorite topics, politics and music. Join me this Sunday when my guest will be Congresswoman Gwen Moore. We'll be talking politics, we'll be talking music, and we'll be talking Hamilton. Stu Man PM, Sundays 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
California lawmaker says it's about time we understand what online activity really means.
Facebook is not about keeping in touch with old friends. Facebook is about making money off the content that we generate.
Democratic Assemblymember Mark Levine has introduced a bill that would establish the California Data Authority, which would protect users from the kind of data mining disclosed in the latest Facebook data breach.
We would definitely want to empower users.
To do that, he says, the bill would, among other things, make online agreements clearer so users understand the intent of the application and give users more control over the data they allow that app to mine. And Levine hopes now, in the wake of the Facebook Cambridge Analytica incident, the bill would be fast-tracked. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
In NCAA tournament action tonight, Loyola Chicago faces Nevada and Kansas State taking on Kentucky in Atlanta. Over in L.A., it's Texas A&M meeting Michigan and Florida State up against Gonzaga. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Are you?
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Grads of Life.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Brian Kelly. Dane County Circuit Judge Josanne Reynolds has ruled today that Governor Walker must hold special elections to fill vacancies in De Pere and Lodi. Judge Reynolds, a Walker appointee in 2014, said that failing to hold special elections infringed upon residents' voting rights. The lawsuit was brought on behalf of the voters by the National Redistricting Committee, led by former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Although the legislative session is soon to be over, special sessions could be called, including possibly redrawing gerrymandered district maps. That case is before the Supreme Court now. Senate Minority Leader Jennifer Schilling tweeted earlier today, quote, Governor Walker is clearly intimidated by the thought of losing more power when voters go to the polls. His refusal to call special elections means thousands of Wisconsin families will be denied representation for over a year. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Hey, wake up over there.
Come on, let's do this thing. It's happy hour, baby.
We are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour. I got to slap you up, give you a couple of hard whacks, wake your ass up.
Come on, bring it, man.
I'm going to give you the old Uncle Joe Biden if I have to, Dom.
Oh, them's fighting words.
Do you hear about this little brouhaha between the POTUS, Donald Trump, at the fit fighting weight of 6'3", 239 pounds, and Joe Biden. Joe Biden apparently, threatening the president with physical harm, going to whoop his ass or something to that effect?
Those are fighting words.
Yes, Joe Biden talking a little trash. He was speaking in front of some event. I guess I don't have it in front of me what he was, but he was, he was on stage in front of a mic talking trash about the president. They take him behind the gym and whoop his ass.
You want to punch me too, Brennan? You guys both look like you might want to hit me in the face.
I'm so torn on this. While I love the fact that there's some pushback against the behavior of the current president, alleged behavior, but I'm not sure that Joe's the one to do it, or if this is, contributing to the civil discourse that this country has so lost track of.
You want to punch me right now, but you won't.
So, we're what? 2 men enter, 1 man leave?
Thunderdome, baby.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Vice News online, they've actually tried to break it down. They handicapped this fight, Dom.
The celebrity death match?
Here's who we think would actually win the Trump-Biden fight. We took stock of all the relevant facts and settled this thing once and for all. You want to hear more?
Please.
On Tuesday, in response to all the terrible stuff President Trump has said about women, Joe Biden said that he'd like to take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. If the two were in high school, predictably, Trump fired back with some fighting words of his own. Crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he's weak, both mentally and physically, and yet he threatens me for the second time with physical assault. He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way.
Come on.
What's your prediction?
Don't threaten people, Joe.
Yes, prediction. Pain.
Predict pain. Sure, we may never actually get to see Trump and Crazy Joe square up on the South Lawn and beat the snot out of each other, but with both of them insisting they'd emerge from the brawl victorious, you can't help but wonder who would actually win. For his part, Biden's already been a pretty active guy. He played football in high school. He stayed busy lifting weights and working on his core, and with jogging with Obama during his time in the White House. Meanwhile, Trump basically survives on trash. Refuses to exercise because he thinks his body has a finite amount of energy, and when he does work out, limits himself to walking and playing golf, but only with a cart, right, Dom? The least strenuous sport known to man. What about curling? Come on, curling's worse. Not to mention those pesky bone spurs. In some respects, though, he does have a leg up on Biden. Trump is a WWE Hall of Famer with a demonstrated ability to choke slam his opponents.
He will shave his head.
He's filled with rage and aggression almost constantly, and he's from a sheer physical standpoint, he's a bigger 6'3" compared to Biden's 6 feet, 239 pounds. Yeah, right, compared to Biden's roughly 180 pounds. And at 71 years old, Trump's got 4 years on the former vice president. In lieu of an actual no-holds-barred showdown between the two politicians, I asked the staff of Vice.com to weigh in with their best guesses on who would come out on top. It's time to settle this thing once and for all. Well, before I read on, Dom, I got to ask. I got to poll the panel here. Joe Biden, Donald Trump in the ring. First of all, are we doing this like a cage match, like no rules?
Yeah, biting, eye gouging. Yes, absolutely. Throat punching. I mean, there are no rules in fights, man. There are no rules.
Well, no punching in the face. No touching the hair, of course.
Come on.
Either man. I mean, they're both a little particular. I think, Joe got plugs in the 70s, and I don't know what Trump's got living on top of his head. Both these men, Don, they're a little particular about their hair. You got something you want to play in there, Fancy Brian?
I will fight you.
Yes.
That's no lie.
So who, I tell you, I got to be honest, I'd take Trump. I mean, if I was a betting man.
How about you in there, Fancy Brian?
I would take Trump, and for the simple reason that he will use my technique, which is grab and fall. He will grab Joe and fall on him.
Well, the other side, though, I mean, Trump's out of shape. He's, you could sweep the leg. I think, it depends on how it goes. But I would have to, if I'm betting man, I'm putting the odds on Trump.
Now, is this a sumo style thing? Because Trump's definitely going to win a sumo wrestling
man,
fight.
This is MMA, man. This is anything. This is Thunderdome.
But
man.
Joe's wiry. Joe could do the old sneak around, come around back, give him a scissor kick like a monkey in the head.
I mean, I've never seen Joe. I've seen him jog. I guess I've never seen Trump really do anything either. But, Trump's a little crazy. And sometimes that crazy gives you a few, it gets you a little extra.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
So, you think Trump would be the guy that's right away just starts ripping his shirt off?
Absolutely.
Barebacked?
Well, we know this is how he goes.
According to Vice.com staff, this is an obviously an unusual matchup because if it was regulated, Trump and Biden would be in two different weight classes. I've never been in a fight. Well, then you don't qualify. Moving on to the next guy. Who else? I honestly think Trump would win this fight. For one, he's both bigger and younger than Biden, modestly younger. Well, he eats like snot, and Biden appears to be more agile. I'm sure Trump could just, sit on him. Also, more importantly, Trump would play dirty, whereas Biden would fight fair. Yeah, that's the problem with Democrats. They're fighting fair. Well, the guy's kicking him in the nards.
All right, Trump's going to grab him by the...
Trump would resort to biting, hair pulling, kicking in the balls, etc. Yes, he would. You know he would, Dom.
There's no rules in fighting.
In the end, though, we all lose. This beef is toxic masculinity at its peak.
Got a text in from the 844-967-2789 party line. Tonette would beat them both.
Oh!
Oh, damn.
Well, she's got a few weight classes on either man, I think, Don.
God, let's get to the phones. Mark from Prairie du Sac, you are next. Thanks for calling, man.
And
what
if
do you think?
the governor would like to defend her honor, you can find us right here. 844-967-2789. Wayne Canader. I'm right here on Brady looking for you. Go ahead, Mark.
How low the conversation has sunk.
Hey, it's not our fault, Mark. We're just reporting the news.
I'd have to go with Joel. I mean, on this one, if you push him, because I think that that you adapt yourself to the situation that calls for itself, and if you have to hit Trump and what little manhood he has left, to start off the fight, and when he drops to the ground, you just kind of laugh at him because.
That would take like some precision armaments to get Trump in the little Cheeto, I think, Mark.
Yeah, that might be part of his problem. I mean, he's might be a taller man, but he's got kind of small, stubby-fingered hands there that.
No punching power, one would suspect, right, Mark?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think that but the only weightlifting he does is lifting that cheeseburger up to his maw, at 5 o'clock in the morning. But
don't forget the taco salad.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, but that's just lifting a fork. I mean that.
He does a lot of that, Mark. But you mentioned it. Of course, this is just truly a shame. I mean, this is a disgrace for our country. And if someone's going to have to point out the disgrace, well, hell, I'll be happy to do it. We're talking about the former vice president is going to fight the current president. Now, how is this not, in some way, a threat? Do you think Donald Trump feels threatened? Do you think that Biden should have the Secret Service visiting him because of his threats against the president?
Well, I think this is just locker room talk. I mean, again, I guess you could call it. And that I didn't notice them putting Ted Nugent in chains when he made various far worse threats to President Obama and his wife, for that matter. That but it's just that Trump brings us out of people that Trump continues to act the bully, just lash out at everybody. Does not that he kids about acting presidential, but that he is incapable of acting like an adult. And this might be fine for the real estate industry. This might be fine for the real estate industry, but it's got no place in national international geopolitics.
But Mark, I mean, didn't Biden kind of start this one?
Well, I mean, it's got to be frustrating for Joe Biden because that he actually, at times, he's a guy who speaks his mind sometimes and goes a little bit off the rails. But I mean, here you have Donald Trump who continually did this during this whole campaign, and is now president. I mean, and it's got to be frustrating for somebody who's been more professional his whole life than Joe Biden. I mean,
yeah, well, no doubt, Mark. I mean, hell, if I thought I could get away with being a total ass and still become the president, not having to pretend to be presidential, well, why not? I mean, Trump has showed us the way. I thought about this a little bit today. Turn your mic on, Gary. You got something to say?
Well, I was just going to ask. Do you hear the dogfight going on at Mark's house?
Yeah, I did. That's why I cut
scrapping in the back room.
A little short. This is what it's come to. Today it's a nice day here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's got to be close to 40. The sun is out, but it was in the 30s earlier today as I'm coming down to the studio, and I'm thought to myself, wow, what a beautiful day. But then at the end of summer and getting to fall, when you get your first 30-degree day, it's really cold. And then you go through the winter, and now we're used to it, and now it's really nice. Well, it's kind of like this president. When we first think about these things, oh my God, this is terrible, this is horrible. And now, he's lowered the discourse so much to such a degree we're kind of used to it now. We're kind of engaged with it now.
Dominic, I thought we were raising the discourse. We're not talking about porn stars for the moment.
For the moment.
We're not talking about groping or sexual assault allegations against the president.
Hey, a couple more texts from the party line.
I like
844-967-2789.
I was just going to say, I like this new feature.
I know.
Party line text line.
Engaging. Here's one. Hey, Devils, don't underestimate Joe Biden, the fighting Irish. And another one. Joe should do a Facebook Live outside the White House saying, well, Trump, let's have at it. Out crazy, the crazy. Yeah, show up in some sweatpants, man. Let's do it, Joe. Let's get this thing on.
Like the end of Lethal Weapon.
Right.
Just show up shirtless, some cut-off sweatpants.
Wife beater. No, put a shirt on. You got to keep a shirt on, man.
Put a shirt on. Come on, man. Your shirt gets all ripped up in a fight. Somebody's blood's going to get on it.
Keep your shirt on, man.
No promises. It's the happy hour. It could be the sexy hour if you're lucky. And if you aren't, and if you don't like what we're laying out there, we will fight you. At least if you're Donald Trump. I'd go after Donald Trump. He's an old man. I could take him. 3 rounds, he'd go down. More Devil's Advocates. Text or call 844-967-2789.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Since your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man.
Horsey McHorseface.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
I'm Ron Burgundy. You stay classy, San Diego.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Devil's Advocates.
We've got U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, our friend, live via phone. Ron, in all seriousness, if this was Barack Obama, you'd be screaming, "Stormy, stormy, stormy," from the rooftops.
You're too young to understand this excuse. This would be the Sergeant Schultz answer. I know nothing.
But as the chair of the HISCAC, sir, Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee, you could get to the bottom of this, could you not, Ron?
I see nothing. I know nothing.
Making radio great again.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life, young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Cowboy. Cowboy.
Kicking ass and taking names since the Wisconsin uprising. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can join us on the party line, call or text 844-967-2789.
Dominic, you ever been in a fight with anyone not a sibling?
Oh, sure.
Like a fight.
Yeah, sure.
How'd it go?
I've never been knocked down in my life.
Never been knocked down?
No.
I'd knock you down right now.
No, you couldn't.
Knock you down a couple notches.
You could try.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you ever did.
Small room. You couldn't hide from me in here.
Ain't no hiding, man. I get you like it on top of you, man. It's all over. Forget it.
You get on top of me.
You know it.
Come on. What are you going to do?
Dude, you've never seen the speed and agility I have, man. I'm a grappler. I will take you down.
You'll take me down?
Yep.
Scissor kick me like a spider monkey.
Back of the head.
So who'd you get?
Hell, I don't know.
You didn't go
school.
down. Did you get beat up a little? Did you get bloody lifted?
Sure. Yeah, I've been punched in the face before.
My first fight in the bathroom, outside of the family, in the bathroom in 6th grade, Jeff Lamp.
Oh, she remembered. Wow,
I remember it. Our friend Daryl was just talking about, you put the chip on the shoulder. A guy told me, crumple up a piece of paper, and if the guy really wants to start a fight, make him start it. Put the chip on your shoulder. Make him knock the chip off.
Oh, that's cute.
So anyways, I put a chip on my left shoulder, and when Jeff reached across my body to knock it off, I gave him a right cross right in the kisser. Boom! Right in the mouth. And then actually, I had boxed my brother in the basement quite a bit growing up. He's a little older than I a little better fighter than he. But anyways, Jeff Lamp, I gave him a couple of shots, and then I did a full Nelson on the kid, and we're in the bathroom because that's where all the best fights happen. Full Nelson, up. Yes. Well, I got his face right in front of the toilet, right over the water.
Why were you fighting?
He actually started it, if I recall correctly. So anyways, I said, okay, man, I'm only going to let you up if you promise you're not going to come up swinging. And there were other people there. I had some witnesses. Uncle, let me go. As soon as I let him go, he came up swinging. And I raised my fist up. I didn't even get another punch in. Kid got the snot beat out of him.
Oh.
By everyone that was there as my witness when I said, it's over. You done? He said, I'm done. And he came up swinging. He got his ass beat.
You're never done, man. You better be watching your back.
But you know who got suspended?
Who? Me. What are you beating kids up for, man?
I got in trouble for it.
Well,
come on, man. One punch in a wet willy style full Nelson.
That's terrible.
And a good story for the radio. Well, I think it's a good story. Violence is never encouraged, kids, but if you're going to fight someone,
well, Crudy,
aim to win.
You know who couldn't sit this one out? Former Milwaukee County Sheriff David A. Clark Jr. He had to pipe in on this one. We'll get back to this after the break. 844-967-2789. Call or text.
I'm 10 years old, but I'll beat your ass.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 a.m. WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 a.m. WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Hello, friends. Tom Malazzi here from Teamsters Local 200. Here's a fact. United States Labor Department statistics show union workers receive, on average, 30% more in pay and benefits than non-union workers doing the same job. If you're a worker interested in receiving better wages and benefits and respect at your workplace, give Teamsters Local 200 a call at 414-771-6363 and ask to speak to a Teamsters Local 200 organizer today.
In this hot real estate market, don't pay 5 or 6% commission. With Homeowners Concept Realtors, you pay no more than 3.9% for full service. Homeowners Concept Realtors sell many more homes per year than the average agent. That's experience you can count on. If you're thinking of selling, call 414-258-7778 for an agent that specializes in your area for ideas on price, marketing, and staging your home. The more you know, you'll wisely choose Homeowners Concept 3.9% Realtors. HomeownersConcept.com.
Hello, I'm State Senator LaTanya Johnson. Making sure Wisconsin residents continue to have equal and fair access to voting is very important to me. Here are some key things you should know. Wisconsin requires a photo ID, and chances are you already have what you need to vote. A Wisconsin DMV-issued driver's license. You can use this even if it's revoked or suspended. A Wisconsin DMV-issued identification card. A military ID issued by the U.S. Uniformed Services, or a U.S. passport book or card. You can use these items even if they're expired, as long as the expiration date is after the most recent general election held on November 8, 2016. For more information about registering to vote, please visit myvote.wi.gov or call the Wisconsin Election Commission Help Desk at 608-261-2028. We won't be taken for granted.
This message was brought to you by WRRD 1510 AM.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. This Saturday is the March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. and other cities across the United States, including several cities in Wisconsin. In Milwaukee, marchers will meet at the county courthouse beginning at 9:30, then march to Red Arrow Park beginning at 10 o'clock. The event is scheduled to last until 3 p.m. and everyone is welcome. In Madison, marchers will meet at Library Mall beginning at 9:30, then march to the Capitol beginning at 10 o'clock. And beginning Sunday, a group of high school students from across Wisconsin are planning to march 50 miles over 4 days from the state capitol to Speaker Paul Ryan's hometown of Janesville to try to persuade the speaker to support gun control legislation. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels.
Women want them, men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Little Michael Bolton, in honor of new National Security Advisor John Bolton.
Close enough. Kissing
cousins, perhaps. Michael Bolton doesn't have the porn stash like John Bolton, former Bush guy, now Trump guy. H.R. McMaster is out John Bolton, Fox News, mustachioed war criminal in.
Another Fox News channel contributor in this Trump administration.
Bolton?
That's me.
Wow, is that your real name?
Yeah.
But there is no chaos at the White House.
No,
This
is a finely tuned machine.
I mean, I hope he's got it perfect now. His cabinet, Dom, he's so close.
Oh, it's right on the
to
edge of his
perfection.
fingertips,
Never
yeah.
chaos. Only improvement.
This is all. It's been all planning. It's all in the plan. The master plan.
It's like getting new tires on the car. It'll run so much better. Hell, it might not even spend most of its time in the ditch anymore, like the Trump administration has been doing up until now.
Well, what could possibly go wrong with John Bolton? You know, first strike philosophy, John Bolton.
Bomb Iran, John Bolton. Chop the top 10 stories off the United Nations building, John Bolton. That guy?
That guy. I think that's the guy. Or is it Michael Bolton? I get him confused.
So that is the breaking news. Donald Trump, more chaos in his administration. And let's not forget, earlier today, Dom, Trump was, canning his Russian lawyer? Dowd. Dowd's out.
That seems like so long ago. Yeah, yes.
It was like a week, 10 days ago that Donald Trump was pushing back against the New York Times that reported he wanted to add new counsel to his legal team, wanted to shake up fake news. Fake news. Well, now he's hired, DeGiannivi guy, the conspiracy theorist. He's fired John Dowd. He's offered four prominent attorneys, including the former Solicitor General of the United States.
They're all busy washing their hair.
Yeah, they're very, very busy.
So very busy.
Don't want to represent the Trumpster, apparently. And now Donald Trump today, Dominic, said he really wants to give testimony before Mueller's special counsel.
Oh, excellent.
Apparently John Dowd was the hang-up. Or maybe it was H.R. McMaster. I'm not sure, because now they're both out.
Our buddy Tom Adler from California just texted in on the text party line, 844-967-2789.
But aren't people going to call anymore? They're all going to text.
Right.
They're like millennials now.
We are effed with Bolton. Come on, Tom. You know, that's probably true.
You know, he's got to get some Just for Men, that stash. It used to be two-tone, kind of like Trump's hair. Now it's, all white. He just looks old. It's kind of like Wolf Blitzer, if Wolf Blitzer served in the Trump administration.
Wow. So that's the new news.
Former United States Secretary of State under George W. Bush, hawkish views on North Korea, arguing for a preemptive strike. And, of course, the most important part of John Bolton's resume, Fox News contributor.
I do. I'm a Michael Bolton fan.
John Bolton, Michael Bolton, whatever. We brought it up. We never got to it, so let's maybe get there now. We can save the David A. Clark for later, maybe towards the end of the show. Washington Post reported, as Crudy mentioned, John Dowd, personal attorney to President Trump, resigned his position Thursday.
Got fired.
Amid a shakeup in the president's legal team as Trump sought more firepower to deal with the special counsel's Russia investigation. The resignation came Thursday, according to three people familiar with the decision. In an email to the Washington Post, Dowd wrote, "I love the president and wish him well."
The most insincere email perhaps ever drafted.
Dowd's departure was a largely mutual decision. It's not you, it's me. Made after the president lost confidence in his ability to handle special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, and Dowd became frustrated with Trump's recent efforts to bring on new attorneys, they said. In recent weeks, Dowd clashed with the president, including an incident in which he disagreed vehemently with Trump over a legal strategy, according to the People. Jay Sekulow, Trump lawyer and spokesman for the legal team, told the Post, "John has been a valuable part of the team and a friend, and we will continue to cooperate fully with the special counsel." Yeah. When asked Thursday at a White House trade event whether he still wants to testify in front of Mueller's team, Crudy, you said this as well. Trump responded, "Yes, I would like to."
There's nothing I would like more than for you, Mr. Trump, to testify before this special counsel. Now that Dowd's gone, and Dowd apparently was something of a roadblock, trying to protect his client, instead opting to represent himself, nothing like The man who represents himself's got a fool for a client, something of that sort, Dom. Well, he might hire other counsel, Dom, but have no doubt Donald Trump's now in charge of his own defense. And it is going to be a chaos theory defense. It's going to involve meetings with Sean Hannity late at night.
Well, I mean,
lots of cover
Sean
from
Hannity coming
Fox
over
News
to be the new communications director, replace Hope Hicks, perhaps.
I have said Sean Hannity will join the White House team when it's time to replace Mike Pence, Vice President Slanthead.
Oh, that full head of hair.
He's a handsome guy. He looks good on the TVs, Dom. That's a prerequisite for the Trump administration servitude.
You think Hannity is handsome?
Oh, compared to you, sure.
Oh, come on, man. What are you talking about?
He's TV handsome.
He's
got the big head with the full head of hair.
Head. Well, I mean,
he fills up the screen with that.
Yeah, HD. I don't think
with that
very well
giant
no.
melonious. I don't think that's a word, but like melon, like
Melonious.
Yeah,
it's a word now.
Felonious, perhaps.
844-967-2789. Let's get to some callers. Paul, doing it the old-fashioned way, calling on the party line. Welcome, Paul. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? What do you got for us today?
I don't know if it's so happy. I used to worry about gravel roads with Scott hole, but this pales in comparison with Trump, and now he's got Bolton, Mr. Warmonger himself. Yeah. Hey, where are you guys going, Beliefs? Would you please take me when you go? I mean, I don't know anymore. And Hannity is just a jackass. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to end this conversation today before I really blow up. Have a good day.
Thank you, Paul. I would concur. Hannity is not my favorite newsman.
Na. Paul's going to start a fight.
Hey, goodbye. So McMaster out. Trump's lead attorney in the Russia investigation, dealing with Mueller. Dowd, he's out. But this is a finely tuned machine, nothing to see here. And Trump cannot wait. He is so looking forward to speaking with Robert Mueller about all the issues that Mueller wants to investigate.
Well, Dom, I got a little time in this segment. I'm going to include a little more information. Paul Waldman at the Post, the plumb line. Trump's lawyer just quit. Here's what it means for the Mueller investigation. While you were distracted by President Trump and Joe Biden threatening to fight each other in a septuagenarian slapdown, this happened as we reported. John Dowd, personal attorney to President Trump, resigned his position Thursday amid a shakeup of the president's legal team as Trump has sought more firepower to deal with the special counsel's Russian investigation. I'm going to jump down in the piece, Dom. Dowd, who has ostensibly led the ever-growing squad of lawyers defending the president in the Russian investigation, made news last week when he called for Mueller's probe to come to an end, a suggestion obviously meant to placate the president. Before that, he was perhaps best known for claiming hilariously that he had written a Trump tweet in which the president said he fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn because he lied to the FBI, which could be evidence of obstruction of justice, since not long afterwards, Trump asked FBI Director James B. Comey to go easy on Flynn. The notion that Dowd, for the first and last time, sent out a tweet from the president's account that just happened to be incriminating was so ridiculous that no one bothered to pretend it was anything other than Dowd lying to protect his client.
When he said that, I tried to struggle and imagine how they would both fit on the toilet at the same time.
Third national security advisor in 14 months, John Bolton will be. I read on. Perhaps those kinds of humiliations got to be just too much for Dowd, but still, his departure is yet more evidence that the president will continue to approach the Mueller investigation not as a legal problem, but as a PR problem, which may not be quite as stupid as it seems. Dowd's departure is not a surprise. The New York Times recently reported that he contemplated leaving his post because he had concluded that he had no control over the behavior of the president.
It took you that long to conclude?
That same article said that Trump has been musing to associates about whether he should fire another of his lawyers, the ornately mustachioed Ty Cobb, who, now he's got a new ornately mustachioed national security advisor. He doesn't need Ty Cobb anymore, who has insisted who has insisted that Trump should approach Mueller with the spirit of cooperation to demonstrate that he has nothing to fear. Trouble is, Trump has lots to fear from Mueller, particularly now that the special counsel is looking into his finances. In addition, Trump's legal team recently asked Republican super lawyer Ted Olson, just the kind of guy who could have been a friendly professional relationship with Mueller, to join them. And Olson said, thanks, but no thanks. One can't help but assume that Trump hired people such as Dowd and Cobb, established Washington lawyers on the recommendation of the more reasonable people around him, who argued that Trump needs experienced pros who can see the investigation through to its conclusion with minimal drama. On the other hand, Trump has also filled out his legal team with people such as Jay Sekulow and his latest hire, Joe DiGenova, who were almost certainly Trump's idea, since they have the distinction of appearing often on the Fox News.
See, if Trump is turning away from the advice of people like Dowd and Cobb and toward people like Sekulow and DiGenova, who recently opined that a group of FBI and DOJ people were trying to frame Donald Trump and of falsely creating crime, it's likely that his legal advisors will be telling him what he wants to hear. That includes, there's a deep state conspiracy against him. The entire investigation is illegitimate. Attacking Mueller on Twitter is a brilliant strategy, and Trump should go ahead and let Mueller depose him, since he's such a genius that Mueller wouldn't lay a glove on him. Any ordinary lawyer would say that all this is not only ridiculous, but also likely to maximize the trouble Trump gets in. So why do I say this isn't as stupid as it seems? Because no matter what he does, the odds that Trump will be criminally indicted are very small. There's some dispute about whether a sitting president can even be charged with a crime. So in that end, while Mueller will almost certainly be sending some people to jail, Trump himself won't be among them. Trump's personal culpability will be judged by the political system in congressional hearings in the 2020 election and possibly through impeachment. If that's the case, the greatest protection Trump has is not smart lawyers who can keep him out of trouble, but a Republican Party that sees its own self-interest in staying unified behind him.
Merging their agendas and all, Dom.
So far, the party has. You can see it in the House Intelligence Committee's aggressive effort to plunge its head in the sand on Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Having Trump's lawyers out in public condemning Mueller and crying that the whole thing is a witch hunt serves to reinforce those partisan bonds, which means Trump won't be impeached unless Democrats take the House, and perhaps not even then, and certainly couldn't be convicted by the Senate. That doesn't mean the strategy is without risks, as it does sometimes lead Republicans so far from the facts that the cognitive dissonance becomes unbearable. That's why you have some Republicans grudgingly admitting that Russia did interfere in our election and was trying to help Trump, even if they strenuously deny that there was any collusion with the Trump campaign. As retiring Senator Bob Corker puts it, Trump's support from the GOP base is more than strong, it's tribal in nature. Other politicians who are campaigning among their Republican constituents, Corker said, tell him that people don't ask about issues anymore. They don't care about issues. They want to know if you're with Trump or not, which no doubt warms Trump's heart, reassuring him that as long as he keeps the party behind him, he'll be fine, no matter what that big jerk Robert Mueller does, so he can stop listening to wet blankets like John Dowd and Ty Cobb. But don't forget the old adage, a man who acts as his own lawyer has a fool for a client.
This Michael Bolton's got me feeling all warm and fuzzy inside.
Well, just remember, it's John Bolton, not Michael Bolton, who's the new security advisor.
No, John Bolton scares me. I'll have nightmares later. That's an entirely different human being of a very scary nature, perhaps war criminal. Past and future, John Bolton. Come back with us. Dom's favorite artist, Michael Bolton, plays us to break. We are the Devil's Advocates on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network. I see you swaying to the music. Come back with us. The phone and text lines open. The party line open. 844-967-2789.
So Ryan, I'm the exact same way, but it must be twice as hard for you being have the same name as him. I celebrate the guy's entire catalog.
Very powerful. Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, final segment of the day. Damn, time flies when you're having fun, but you can join us on the party line, text or call 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we started this big show talking about the breaking news in the state of Wisconsin. A Dane County judge ruling Scott Walker must hold special elections to fill two current vacancies, Frank Lissay's seat, Keith Ripp's seat. They've been vacant since last year. Scott Walker trying to use, the letter of the law to ignore the spirit of the law. Right. And, of course, Assembly Speaker Robin Voss had some harsh words for that Dane County judge.
That activist judge.
Damn liberal judicial activist.
That Walker appointed in 2014.
Well, Ed Trevlin has a response. This is the article I found at the Wisconsin State Journal just a moment ago. A Dane County judge called on Assembly Speaker Robin Voss to apologize to a colleague for what he called an unwarranted attack on her character following her decision Thursday to order elections for 2 vacant seats in the Wisconsin State Legislature. Voss, a Republican, if you didn't know, from Rochester, in comments to media Thursday, called Dane County Circuit Judge Josanne Reynolds an appointee of Governor Scott Walker, as you pointed out, Dom. And here's the quote: an activist Dane County judge suited to liberal Madison. Voss made the comments after Reynolds' decision to order Walker to call for special elections for seats vacant since December. In a letter to Voss, Circuit Judge William Hanrahan, who leads the state's 5th Judicial District, urged Voss to apologize to Reynolds. He wrote that Voss' comments are inflammatory, uncalled for, and are patently offensive to the dedicated public servants like Judge Reynolds that work tirelessly to apply the law that you in the legislature create. I know Judge Reynolds to be a judge who is possessed of keen intellect, is careful and deliberate in her rulings, and has consistently demonstrated a deep and passionate commitment to the pursuit of justice, Hanrahan wrote. No doubt these factors contributed to her appointment to the bench by Governor Walker.
Had Voss known about the legal issues in the case, Hanrahan wrote, he could have offered constructive criticism instead of an attack on Reynolds' character. Here's what he wrote. You took the low road. With a broad brush, you have not only needlessly besmirched my reputation and that of my colleagues, you have also gratuitously denigrated the good citizens of Dane County. And frankly, in the process, you have also sullied your own reputation, diminishing any hopes of being taken seriously as a statesman. Hanrahan,
Robin Voss doesn't give a damn about his bad reputation.
You'll get nothing like it.
A former state assistant attorney general, has been on the bench since 2007 when he was appointed by then Governor Jim Doyle. He wrote, however, that he is neither liberal nor conservative, but a nonpartisan member of the 3rd branch of state government.
Well, Dominic, the Republicans don't like the nonpartisan judges, the nonpartisan elections commissioner.
Well, they don't do what the Republicans want.
The nonpartisan GAB, Government Accountability Board, that once upon a time tried to hold Scott Walker accountable for the campaign finance laws he was tearing asunder and corruptly breaking. In which law? Well, it was the John Wilcox case. Mark Block, when the guy got banned from doing politics in the state of Wisconsin for 3 years, the biggest fine in state history, that was the precedent setter to establish the fact you could not coordinate with third-party groups.
Until you get judges that say you can. And a new interpretation given to us by the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
And, of course, a vindictive investigation in more of this sort of trash talking from Robin Voss, as he and Brad Schimmel and Scott Walker undermine and investigate the investigators. Seems very similar to what Trump's trying to do with Mueller. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Want to thank our fine guest, Mike Brown, Deputy Director, One Wisconsin Now, for joining us today. Dom, you're off tomorrow. Unexcused absence. You're going to have to serve a detention next week. I'll do it without you. I'll do it live. Have a great night, everyone. See you on the radio, all except for Dominic, tomorrow.
Don't you have homes?
No, I'm going to stay for a while. How about that? Freedom.
You'll get nothing like it.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to